Cool. So I think like just moving this forward into the sort of, conscious of time, what we want to talk about is that super interesting piece that I think is really important to note here, is that you're operating as a team, performing at ultimately a totally professional level, but you're not all professional like yourself. You have a job, and I think in so many ways, and we talked about this earlier, that almost makes things more difficult than if hockey was your sole focus, because balancing all of this must be so hard. But it must be something that, right from university and school, you've had to keep going alongside of your, because you're very much a student athlete rather than like a full-blown directed athlete at the time when you're at uni. So just talk to us about that bit, because I think it's just it blows my mind that you can compete at this level but also be doing a job at the same time.
Sure. I think anyone that's played hockey, or anyone that plays for Surbiton, will understand the balance that is playing hockey, or anyone that wants to play hockey at a higher level to any point has spent probably their life tentatively balancing I don't know, whether it's at school. So we've got people that play at Surbiton. Like I mentioned before, we've got kids that are still at school. We've got people that are at university. We've got people that are just leaving university, sort of graduate level jobs. And then we've got the older, more advanced stage people with just a job that they've been in for a number of years now. And then we've got professional hockey players that play for Great Britain. And again, if for them, they might play hockey full time, but their stuff that they do with GB and on their full program is different to the stuff they do with their club. I know it is still playing hockey, so in a sense there's overlap there, but it's still a very difficult combination. It's just it's probably more physical. And anyway, it's different. Everyone basically has because you're not paid to play for Surbiton, in a sense it's not professional, the club level like that. Everyone has got something else that they are managing alongside this. And I do think that is a brilliant part about Surbiton, and about the team that you play with. Everyone understands the different demands that people have. But yeah, so it's definitely something that all hockey players have had to balance throughout their time. And it's not easy. At school, there was a number of different demands. So you've got academic, sport, often different sports, because you probably weren't just playing hockey. I certainly wasn't. And then at university, you're absolutely right. There is definitely a student athlete kind of combination. When I went to university, they had things called national performance centres, and I went to a university that was a national performance centre. So we had like a very large number of hours that we did, sometimes on the pitch with in the mornings before uni at like 7 a.m. They were not the most enjoyable, the 7 a.m. sessions, particularly on a Thursday. So yeah, there was lots of things at school and then at university. And now at my job, like I said, when I started as a graduate, we trained on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and lots of stuff happened with work on Thursdays. After work, there was lots of social things, but social things that are important as you're starting in a new job, in a new role. So I've sort of just waffled there with regards to the different stages, but I think the same concepts apply in that you need to work out what's important to you as a person first as well, and then as an athlete, or then as a combination between the two. So trying to work out what is best for both. And sometimes, we've worked with a number of players over the years, and that 100% changes. For some people, they need a little bit of time off from certain things, it doesn't have to be a constant. It can be like a moving thing. When well, to a degree, that's not strictly true, but it can definitely, and people need to work out what's important to them and how it works best for them. Yeah, and things you do have to make sacrifices. There are lots of sacrifices made all the time in order to play the amount of hours or the level that you want to play at, but it's why you have to take the pros with the cons. There are some extraordinary things that you gain from it that you just don't, well, I think are difficult to replicate in other areas of life. Like some of the highs are incredible, so there are definitely lows, as in things that you, particularly at the time, you think, oh, I can't do that, I want to do that, etc., etc. But just like anything, the more you give to something, the more you will often get out of it. So long as you keep checking in with yourself, I think, to try and make sure that the sacrifices or the balances that your life is going through are still okay with you, then you're probably on the right path. So yeah, that's probably. Oh, and the one last thing I was going to say was on the on that balance, on that transition, or trying to transition the two, or work with the two throughout your life. There are more skills that you learn doing that than you could possibly imagine, and this is definitely with the benefit of hindsight / age. Some of the stuff at uni that I wouldn't have thought were things that I've learned were the skills that I learned in trying to balance the two. So in my job now, I regularly have to juggle a huge number of different options, priorities, concepts, different things like that, and most of those like less tangible skills that I studied economics and geography at university, but the skills, I would say, are probably taken from either playing a team sport or trying to balance my studies whilst playing sport, for sure.
So, and similar analogy to the hockey, with like your technical skill, you kind of forget about it. You learn it, and it's there, and it's actually managing it and using it. And...
For sure. Completely agree with that.
Yeah, really super interesting. That I think that it's exactly that analogy, Henry, isn't it? It's actually, what are the life skills, right? What am I getting out of it? Whether it's geography or anything, fundamentally, what you've got for life there, and you're carrying through is management skills, mental skills, to be perfectly honest, of setting goals, keeping things. Time management is absolutely enormous at any elite level, doing anything.